Look, let's be real, Donald Trump's a weak, pathetic dude pretending to be some tough guy. He's a wannabe dictator, a wannabe macho man. But we all know bullies are just insecure little punks. And if you push back, they crumble. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Prime Minister Mark Carney, who's standing up to Trump and winning. He's not just making Trump look like a fool, he's got him bending the knee, admitting defeat to Canada in an interview we're gonna dissect. But first, hit that like button, and if you ain't already, subscribe to the channel, cause it helps us keep this damn show going. Now, before we get to Trump's spin on our neighbors up north, let's talk about what Mark Carney said about Trump recently, the stuff that clearly got under his thin skin.
Hi, Mr. Carney. In your second call with the president, did Mr. Trump outright say or insinuate at any point that Canada should become the 51st state?
He did not.
All right. We've heard Mr. Trump on April 23rd and his surrogates throughout the final days of the campaign reiterate the idea that they believe Canada should become the 51st state. On the campaign trail, you said on multiple occasions that respect for Canada would be one of the key things in terms of having a meeting with him. Do you think over the past few days we have seen respect for Canada from the Trump administration?
Look, it's always important to distinguish want from reality. La volonté et la réalité, right? What someone wants and what is reality, and what the Canadian people clearly have stated, virtually without exception, is this will never ever happen. And if any of the leaders of the party and their representatives would attest to that, I think the votes attest to it, I think the public dialogue attests to it as well. We are, we're meeting as heads of our government to discuss that partnership. Now, I'm not pretending those discussions will be easy, or they won't proceed in a straight line. There'll be zigs and zags, ups and downs. But as I said in my remarks, I will fight for the best deal for Canada, and only accept the best deal for Canada, and take as much time that's necessary. But the point is, and I will make this point repeatedly, we have more than enough to do here at home. That point about we can give ourselves more than the Americans can take away is absolutely right. We can have a bigger boost to our economy, to incomes, to jobs, by focusing on building one Canadian economy, by building these nation-building projects, by focusing on getting productivity up, by reducing government waste, by driving investment in this country. And so that is a good in and of itself. We're going to focus on that while we have these negotiations with the Americans. And if the negotiations with the Americans take longer, so be it. We've got more than enough to do here.
We talked about this on election night when Mark Carney secured enough votes for the Liberal Party to keep his gig as Prime Minister. A huge smackdown to the Conservatives fueled by Canada's Trump hate, something we're seeing all over the damn world. And hopefully we see that happen here in America, so Liberals and Progressives can score a big win like they did in Canada or Australia. Yeah, Mark Carney ain't backing down from Trump because he knows you don't bend the knee. And if you do, Trump's just gonna keep kicking you. But Trump, of course, is trying to spin this completely the other way. So before we get to Trump admitting defeat to Canada, let's take a look at his ridiculous spin on the election results.
He was running for office. They both hated Trump. And it was the one that hated Trump, I think, the least that won. I actually think the Conservative hated me much more than the so-called Liberal. He's a pretty liberal guy. But no,
yeah, Mark Carney ain't a fan, Donald. It was that Conservative dude, the Canadian Trump wannabe, who was all about you. Of course, he had to play it cool because you're so damn unpopular worldwide that just being associated with you anywhere else will cost you an election. Big time, like it did for that Conservative leader who lost his seat in Canada. So, I guess thanks, Trump, for being so unpopular that Liberals are winning everywhere else. But that was Trump's spin. He didn't even try to spin it when he was asked about making Canada the 51st state. That little plan of his is clearly going down in flames, as you can see right here.
You and I talked, and I asked you if you would rule out military force to take Greenland, and you said no, you don't rule out anything. Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. It could happen. Something could happen with Greenland. I'll be honest. We need that for national and international security.
But not
I
with
think
Canada?
It's highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
Okay, but you don't rule it out for Greenland.
And by the way, Canada, they spend less money on military than practically any nation in the world. They pay NATO less than any nation. they think we're subsidized. They think we are going to protect them. And really, we are. But the truth is, they don't carry their full share, and it's unfair to the United States and our taxpayers.
But you are not ruling out military force to take Greenland.
I don't rule it out. I don't say I'm going to do it, but I don't rule out anything. No, not there. We need that. We need Greenland very badly. Greenland is a very small amount of people, which we'll take care of, and we'll cherish them and all of that. But we need that for international security.
So before we dive into the whole Canada thing, I gotta point out that Trump's actually talking about going to war with Greenland, invading Greenland. Yeah, you heard that right, invading Greenland. Total insanity for the guy who promised no wars and was supposed to be the peacetime president. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene's calling him out, saying he's starting chaos, invading Greenland, the Panama Canal, turning on our allies. When Marjorie Taylor Greene's calling you out, you know you've hit rock bottom. But let's get back to Canada. Not only did Trump not call Mark Carney the governor like he did Trudeau, he's actually calling him the prime minister, right? So he's backing down a little. But he's also saying, yeah, they ain't gonna be the 51st state. Yeah, we'll still protect them. Yeah, we'll still help their military. Yeah, I guess we've given up on that. He didn't even want to talk about it. He's just so damn defeated because he knows his whole 51st state thing was a stupid distraction anyway, and his trade war with Canada is costing him big time. And I love how Canada's handled this trade war. I know it hurts American businesses, which sucks. But, you know, it's also aimed at screwing over Trump and predominantly hits red states. So, I guess, you know, you get what you voted for. They got these areas in Canadian grocery stores just for American products, which nobody buys because they're making damn sure Trump loses his trade war, which he is. And the effects are widespread. Robert Garcia talked about it right here.
Let's turn to the economy. Your district includes the Port of Long Beach. The executive director of the nearby Port of Los Angeles says shipments from China to the U.S. will plummet 35% next week due to Trump's tariffs. What is the domino effect here? I mean, again, I know you just came from a rally there. Are folks concerned?
I don't think people understand how serious this is. This is a huge, huge blow to the economy and to workers, what's happening right now. Look, I represent the second busiest container seaport in the United States. Los Angeles Seaport is the top one. Combined, most of America's goods coming in from Asia are coming into these ports. We are right now seeing historic declines. We're seeing empty cargo containers coming into the United States. We're now seeing over 30% of a decline in the amount of imports that are coming in from China. This is catastrophic for workers. What you're going to start seeing in the weeks and months ahead is truckers doing less jobs. It's dock workers having less cargo to unload. And what that means is that consumer is going to have less on the shelves and prices are going to go up. People have to understand that the impact you're not going to feel exactly today, but you are going to feel it in the months ahead. This is going to have a ripple effect on the economy. Every empty container that's coming in is less jobs, less work, less warehousing, less trucking, impacts on the supply chain. This is catastrophic for America's ports. And I tell people, I agree, don't look to just the stock market for the health of the economy. Look at America's ports and trade. And so this is where we are headed. We're incredibly concerned. And these tariffs are going to be a massive tax increase on the American public.
Let me ask you quickly, because you went down to that prison in El Salvador trying to secure the release of Kilmer Borrego Garcia. When you have the president saying, yeah, I could bring him back, but I don't want to. Do you hope he's going to get back? What are your expectations?
Look, the United States Supreme Court, in a 9-0 decision, has told the Donald Trump and his administration that he must return, that he must be brought back. Lower courts have said the same thing. The administration has said they sent him there by mistake. This is a constitutional crisis moment. We cannot allow Donald Trump to cross the red line of not listening and following orders of the Supreme Court. This is not about just Kilmer. Look, this is much bigger than him and his story. This is about the Constitution and whether we're going to actually follow what the Supreme Court says. So we have to demand that Donald Trump bring back Kilmer. That's why I was in El Salvador. That's why others will continue to go and advocate for Donald Trump to follow the Supreme Court and bring him back.
There's a damn good reason we're calling this the stupidest trade war in history, and it's probably cause it is. It's not even close. We've got an idiot president who, on a damn whim, decides to slap a bigger tariff here or there. He doesn't understand trade at all, which shouldn't surprise anyone, cause the dude ain't exactly a genius. He just likes the sound of the word, and that's why Democrats, like the folks we see right here, need to be calling Trump out every damn chance we get on this.
You've become the first state to actually sue Trump over these tariffs. What's the basis of your case?
Well, he doesn't have the legal authority to unilaterally impose these tariffs. He used a law, a 1977 law, that Congress afforded the president certain rights, but one of them was not to impose unilaterally tariffs. It's under the Emergency Economic Powers Act. We were the first state to initiate that lawsuit. 12 other states have followed suit. And interestingly, from the conservative perspective inside, the Koch brothers are well known here in the United States of America. Champions of conservative causes also have filed a similar lawsuit on the same grounds.
If this does end up, being something that Congress has to tackle, how confident are you that they would back your position, which is against the tariffs? And I ask because what we have noted here in Canada is there have been governors like yourself who are outspoken, but not a lot of the allies, traditional allies in Congress that we were used to seeing defend free trade are saying a lot this time around.
No, I mean, we have one branch of government. It's the rule of Trump right now. It's almost the law. It feels like the law of the jungle in so many respects. A sort of apex predator deciding day in on a whim, day in, day out, a decision on this or that, a side deal here, a side deal there, a phone call, a foreign leader reaching out. I mean, it's no way to govern a small business, let alone the largest nation in the world. And so the economic consequences, the uncertainty, the chill across the spectrum is profound. And it's profound because, as you suggest, this notion of three branches of government, co-equal branches of government, popular sovereignty, the rule of law has been challenged, and Congress is completely silent and completely complicit. And that's something that needs to be called out and highlighted absolutely as well.
Tariffs might be the most damn unpopular thing Trump's done in his whole presidency, which is saying something because there's a whole damn laundry list. So let's talk about this every single damn day. This is a tax on you driven by a clueless dude who cares more about his ego than helping anyone, especially when it comes to those promises he made about lower prices. Let's hammer this home every damn day. Stupidity, corruption, incompetence. That's the Trump administration. That's what we're talking about on this show. And if you want to support that, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and if you stuck around till the end, drop a blue heart in the damn comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.